Welcome to Flow 360. This week, we have a guest from Peru, Lima, Peru. This is John Paul Fort. He was born and raised in Peru. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Flow 360. I love the idea.
Mhm.
When I met you almost 4 years ago,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised we're doing a podcast right now because ever since I met you, I'm like, he's gonna do great things. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, dude. All right, let's talk about Peru and
Yeah.
how life was like.
Yeah, so I was born in Peru. I lived there till I was 18. So I went to kindergarten, middle school, high school in Peru. What was very interesting is that my high school and my middle school was all men school. So usually what you see in American culture is like boys and girls are always together.
Yeah.
But for me, I was brought up in only guys high school. So just going through that was kind of like how I developed my interactions with people. Definitely have to say my ability with girls took a longer time than it does for most people. But yeah, I was brought up in that system, only guys, and I can make great friends.
Wow. Well, that's definitely different, And then obviously, as you, got from elementary, middle, high school, things possibly change. Obviously, we change in the way we think, the way we view certain things change. So
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to hear about like how was the family life? How was your childhood? Living in Peru, and how the support from family. What were like the fundamentals?
Yeah, support from family has been huge. I was brought up in a sporting family, and mainly tennis was the main sport.
Yeah.
My dad played golf, but I never really got into that world.
Yeah.
But tennis has been my main thing, and we've been a really united family. Even though my parents divorced when I was 3, I don't have any memories from how it happened and how it affected us. But to my both siblings, my older sister and my older brother, they did go through what a divorce does to a family,
Yeah.
Even though we've been really lucky because both my parents stayed friends and they wanted the best for us, but definitely felt some weird times when I was growing up with my family. But the support, especially through tennis, they introduced me to tennis, and I've been on it ever since then, nonstop. So that kind of has been my safe place in my family. I don't know if I didn't have tennis in my life, maybe I would have felt things a little different, like just a bit more sad that my parents are not together or anything. But my stepfather got into my life when I was like 6 or 7 years old. He married my mom when I was 8, and he's been like my second father to me. So I've just had support all over.
Very supportive family in terms of how everything was early on, right? Okay, let's go a little bit back. What were as a kid? Obviously, we all tend to say, "Hey, I want to be a doctor. I want to do this. I want to do that." We all have different goals.
Yeah.
What was your goal, and what was your thought? What were your ideas when you were young? What was something that you wanted to do as you grew up?
To be honest, I had no idea. Like people say, like dream big, and like you can achieve anything. And I knew that. Like I knew I could do anything, but I just didn't know what I wanted. And it took me to sophomore year of college in Tabor that I'm like, okay, I want to start my own business. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to build things that are going to help society be a better place. But man, there were difficult times, like at the end of high school. And as soon as I got to Tabor, because at the end of high school, people were like, oh, right now you're graduating high school. Like, what are you going to study in college? I'm like, I have no idea. And then once I got to Tabor, they're like, oh, like, what do you want to do after you graduate? I'm like, I have no idea. What's your major? I have no idea. So I was a very confused kid, and it really took a toll on me because I saw all these other people being like, I want to do this, I want to be this, and they had it so clear. And here I am at 19, 20 years old, like, I don't know, man. And then I took this one entrepreneurship class in Tabor that really changed everything for me. It was supposed to be a class where you developed a business plan about a service or product, kind of like starting your own small business. And I had this idea of having a customizable neck pillow where you could put the logo of the college and their image in there, and to help student athletes, because I was a student athlete, and they're like, all right, I want to create something that I'm actually gonna try and do. So I did my whole business plan the whole semester about that neck pillow idea. And then at the end of the semester, my professor, she was like, JP, you can actually make this become a reality. And I'm like,
turning that idea into something big,
Yes. And then she was my advisor too. So she's like, all right, I know you're not very clear about your goals, but get the entrepreneurship major, because entrepreneurship major, what it does is it gives you this whole idea of starting a business, managing people, managing numbers too, which is not my strength, but we'll get to that later. And just letting you know that you can do anything. So yes, I didn't have a clear idea of what to do with my life, but the entrepreneurship major really gave me confidence and also the knowledge base to really do whatever you want with your life, especially in a country like the United States. I'm like, yes, I'm here.
Yeah. And coming into that point, I want to ask you, like, what was the earliest that you remember touching racket? Or like, when did you got introduced to tennis? Let's talk about tennis. Like, what was your goal with tennis, and when did you first started playing tennis? Back when you were in Peru, basically.
Yeah, I started playing tennis when I was 5 years old. I started playing with my family.
Wow.
And when I got introduced to my stepfather at 6, a year later, that's when I started really practicing. Because my stepfather is a tennis coach. And like, yes, he wanted me to play around and have fun, but he also wanted me to be good and be the best that I can be.
Yeah.
So I kept tennis throughout my whole adult life, and playing tournaments, practicing Monday through Saturday, getting to doubles tournaments, singles tournaments, just getting into that whole community. And there came a point where I was like 14 years old where I just couldn't do it anymore. Even though I loved tennis, it was part of my family. We played on the weekends together with my friends. It came to a point where I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting out of tennis. Like, you just asked me, like
you're like burning out of your interest, basically.
Super burned out, because I was practicing Monday through Saturday. And when you get to 13, 14, like, there's parties on the weekends and people starting to go out and meeting girls.
Early teenage,
And I couldn't go to any of those parties or gatherings because I had a tennis tournament or I had to practice. And I'm like, okay, thinking of becoming a pro wasn't really a thing. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing this. I'm just gonna quit tennis.
But then, obviously, think about it. Because of that sport and where you got started, it gave you a chance to come to the U.S. And pursue education in your goal. Although, obviously, getting 100% full ride would be the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, even if you can get a couple $1,000s out of the time and effort and all those practices that you have had early on, they paid off. You know what I mean? That was the moment where you probably felt like, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. This is what I wanted, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And how was the journey coming from Peru to the US? Like, was it easy? Was it hard? Obviously, I understand that you guys had agents and stuff in different countries coming to the US for sports, but how was that for you?
Yeah, so I quit tennis from 14 to 16. I moved to soccer because soccer is my second passion. I love both sports with all my life. And then I came to the last year of high school, my senior year of high school, and I had to sit down with my parents and really talk about my future. I'm like, I do not see myself studying in Peru. I don't want to be in Peru because I don't know what's here for me. I have the option to go to the US and get back to tennis my senior year to look for a scholarship in the US. And my stepfather and my mom were like, that sounds like a great idea, but you're going to have to put a lot of effort because you've quit tennis for 2 years. Now it's time to catch up. And even though you're going to have an agency, in the US, they don't just give out scholarships for free. Like, they're going to look if you're a good player. So I got my grind on my senior year, went to practice every day again, Monday through Saturday. Like, I wanted to get that scholarship in the US.
You're like, that's it. That's where I want to go, and that's where I want to study, and I'm going to do whatever it takes.
For the first time in my tennis career, I had a goal. So like from 6 to 14, I didn't have a goal. I just wanted to do good in tournaments.
Yeah.
But
just
I
wanted
didn't
to
have
play and have fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But inside I wanted to win, obviously. And because I wasn't winning, I quit tennis.
Yeah.
And then my senior year of high school, I'm like, now I have a goal for tennis. Like, I love tennis, I enjoy competition. And third, now I have an ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So that's when I really fell in love with tennis again, because I had fallen out of love. Like, I got burned out, like you said.
Yeah.
And
so it is very important to have a goal that this is what I want to do with whatever. It doesn't matter if it's a sport, if it's something that you're looking for a career. Obviously, set a goal and steps to get there.
Yep.
And you can achieve. And he's an example of that right here.
Yeah, thank
you.
Yeah. It was the missing piece for me, because I had the enjoyment, I was good, but I didn't have that end goal. But when I got back to tennis my senior year, those three clicked. I was enjoying tennis, I was good at it, and then I had my final goal of getting to the US. So getting that third piece, what is your ultimate goal? I would say that's the what's gonna prevent you from burning out, because burning out is a really common thing nowadays.
Yeah, where it happens to every athlete that played any sport that you can think of. Eventually, the interest burns out and it's worthless.
Yeah.
So obviously that goal can be the key, where you keep it. You keep seeing that target. Exactly. I can get there. I can do it.
Yeah. So once those three things clicked, I got my scholarship to the US, and I got here. Like I said, no idea what to study, but I just wanted to be playing tennis in the United States.
Yeah.
And build my life here. And my sophomore year came by, I got the entrepreneurship class. I'm like, I can do anything here. So things just started escalating for me. Like, I'm in love with tennis again. I know what to do with my life. Thank you, entrepreneurship. And then junior year came, senior year, I graduated. Now what I'm gonna do with my life? And then Tabor offered me the opportunity to stay for 2 more years, get my MBA, and right now I'm in my first year of MBA, so I don't know what I'm gonna do after I finish MBA, but definitely has something to do with entrepreneurship and starting my own business, which I already have.
Yeah, he's a businessman, by the way. Yes. Let's talk about the adjustment. How was the adjustment in terms of school and a new place for you? How difficult was it to adjust in a country where you have never been before? You don't know the language that well, and it's hard coming from Peru to the US. I mean, I can imagine that happens to every student who comes to the US. I'm sure that happens, right? So how was that for you?
Yeah, so fortunately, I had some friends in Peru that also studied in the US. So when I was a senior in high school, I had some friends come back from their United States summer, and I would talk to them like, hey, how is it studying in the United States? Like, do you have to do public speaking? Because that's one of my biggest fears. And they're like, yeah, once in a while you're going to have to do a presentation with your group. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. But anyways. And as I just talked to them about their experience, it started giving me more calm and peace that I can do it, even though it's a new country, it's a new language. If they're doing it, I can do it. So that gave me a lot of calmness.
Was it exactly what you had heard or you had been told, or was it something different? What was the US experience like for you early? Like, was it like, oh my gosh, big buildings, look at these people, all the how did you feel?
I mean, nothing really can prepare you until you get there.
Yep, that's
like,
right.
You can gather information, but nothing will give you the exact experience of just doing it.
Yeah.
So I just had to get on a plane and come to the US and figure it out by myself. And I was really scared, but I was with my dad and my brother. And even though my dad studied here in the US, he went to Austin, to Texas, big city, big school. And I was going to Tabor College in Hillsborough, Kansas.
Yeah, Hillsborough, Kansas.
Yep. So driving down the road to get to Hillsborough, I don't see much of anything. It's just wide open space, highways, cows, horses.
All the cows and horses,
here and there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. While I was preparing mentally to come to the US, I was expecting like fraternities, parties,
big
like,
buildings,
a lot of students, a lot of life. Like, whoa, you're gonna be overwhelmed. And then I got to Hillsborough, and it's like,
wow,
Hillsborough, Kansas. Interesting. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I was really excited.
But then obviously, being it quiet, you didn't get distracted. You had that goal and you wanted to do that. That's it, right?
That's a different topic, man. Yeah. Like, if I don't know what would have happened with my life if I was in a big party school.
Exactly.
You know,
like, where would you be, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't want to know, because I love my life right now. Like, I was able to find kind of like my purpose. You know, entrepreneurship
and your passion.
My passion. Build things from the ground up. Small community. Like, have meaningful conversations with people, because you know you're gonna see them again the next day. In a big school, you're like, everything know. I don't care. Party.
You don't even know many of your own classmates.
Yeah. Here you know everybody, and that really has turned into an asset when it comes to starting a business, because you want to know your customers, you want to know your friends, and a good friend is a good customer. Like, that's how I treat people who come to my business and ask for a protein shake or a protein bar. It's like, how are you doing today? Like, are you going to the gym? Are you working out? How is your nutrition? Like, is the family doing okay? You know, just talk to your people, because meaningful conversations as a businessman is going to take you far.
Like they say, communication is the key. Right? So let's talk about business.
Let's do it.
Beside from your classes, your course, your advisor, and the school that you were at, how was it to start the business? And did you have to go through any legal procedure? How, like, what does it take? Let's tell I don't know, somebody watching might be interested in starting their own business, or they already have a business and they're struggling. Let's talk about what it takes. How can you struggle to succeed, but like, what's the journey like in terms of the business itself?
So I first came up with the idea through another entrepreneurship class. It was about interviewing people about their problems, being a Tabor student. So you had to go into this interview with no service or product in the back of your mind. You just wanted to talk to people, ask them about their problems. So every college student said, I don't sleep well, time management is bad, my nutrition is not good. Nutrition, okay, I have that problem with nutrition too. What are you going to do about it? After doing 10 interviews, I'm like, I can start a nutrition business. So I did my research on my market. Like, what does the Tabor people need? They need nutrition alternatives. All right, let's do it. I bought like $200 worth of protein. And before it arrived, I had no idea what to do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do protein shakes, because that's what everybody likes. And then I have this friend, Nathaniel Heilig. He's the football kicker, super buff guy, super nice guy.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Nathaniel, my brother. And he's like, yo, you're buying protein. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to start a nutrition business. He's like, I'll be with you. Like, let's do it together. Let's split it 50-50. I'm like, all right. So the second step was getting a partner. And yes, you can start businesses by your own, but if you get a partner that has the same vision and the same goals as you, everything is just so much smoother.
And I'm sure reliability, right? Someone who can rely on and trust.
Because he was also in the class. He also did the interviews. And he also heard about the nutrition problem. So he's like, all right, we can do this just for the class, or we can actually do this for real. So another thing you have to realize is small opportunities, like starting a nutrition business. It doesn't sound like it's gonna make you a millionaire, but you're starting, and you don't know where it's gonna take you. So our first year was just doing protein shakes from the dorms, just super low budget, but we were feeding people good stuff. You know, I brought superfoods from Peru, and we put protein powder and we put almond milk. We did the best protein shakes in 100-mile radius, and people started talking about it. And Tabor also heard what we were doing. And they're like, you guys don't have a license, so you need to get a license and you can keep doing this. And we're like, how much is the license? And they're like, $600.
Wow.
And we're like, we don't have $600. So what do you do when you don't have money? Well, you go and find somebody who does. And we went to the Tabor vice president. I don't know if you know him, Ron Braun.
Yes, I know Ron.
Super nice guy. He heard what we were doing. We had to prepare a pitch. So you also got to prepare a pitch for whenever the opportunity arises, because we had to think fast. We either had to get the license by the following week, or we were out of business. So we had to put a pitch together, really showcase what we want to do with this business. And Ron was sitting in front of us. We're like, we just want to feed people good, nutritious food because they want to be great athletes, because they want to have a healthy lifestyle, and because they deserve it. Yeah. So can we please have money? Yeah. And he said yes. And we're like, all right, we got the funding. We got the license, and Tabor has helped us a lot throughout the way. But the biggest help they've given us is they gave us a storefront. Okay. So they gave us a place where they have a certified kitchen. We can keep a fridge in there. And we went from the dorms to an actual storefront where everything just got better from there. Yeah. And yeah, we had to get that license because otherwise we would have been out of business. Yeah. But you do need capital. And in order to get capital, if you don't have it, you just got to ask for somebody who does. Either an angel investor if you're lucky, or just look for investors from your network. You know, like you don't have to go to banks because then they give you insane interest rate and that could work for you. But just go to your network. Like, who do you trust? Do they have money? Ask for it. Pitch it the right way, because you just don't want to say like, I want to start this business to make money. Like, I want to start this business to help people. Yeah, that has to be on point every single time you start a business. Yeah,
the purpose, right? To help people. Exactly. Obviously, you're going to make money along the way, but if you want to just make money, you can only get so far. Yeah, who knows how far you can get? But if your goal is to help people and do good deeds, obviously you're going to make money along the way.
Unlimited. Yeah. Like you don't worry about the money. The money will just come to you. And that's kind of what's happened. Like, people started realizing that they need nutritional alternatives. Yeah. And they're like, I could go to Wendy's, I could go to Pizza Hut, I could go to Subway. Subway's not bad, but it's a little expensive. And they're like, oh, now we got Gain Central. That is where I go get my gains. That is where I go get my protein. I'm just going to go to them because they're students like me. So I'm going to try and help out their business, but also they got good stuff. So, for us, we just focus on giving nutritional value and also a conversation, like I said, like, how are you doing? Are you achieving your goals? And if you just focus on those things, the money will just come to you. Like, you don't really have to worry about that. Yeah. Honestly, it's crazy.
Wow. That's great, dude. Thank you for the information. And, you know, lastly, before we leave, I wanted to ask you about, like, tell us about Peru and some of, like, some places in Peru that, you know, you would tell an outsider about. Okay, let's talk about Peru a little bit.
Okay, so Peru has 4 places to go. Okay. You have the ocean, you have the coast, you have the highlands, and you have the jungle. Okay. So I'll tell you a spot for each one of those. For the jungle, I would go to the Amazon. There's a state in Peru called Amazonas, which the Amazon River goes through there, and you can see the amount of nature in there, the food, the people, all the colors. It's just a beautiful place to visit. But if you're scared of insects, maybe think about it twice.
Maybe don't go there.
Yeah. Then you got the highlands. Most people know about Machu Picchu. Yes. One of the wonders of the world. But I will also say throughout the whole highlands, like coast of mountains, I don't know how you say it. Everywhere is just beautiful, and they have the best food in the world over there. Just the way they treat earth and everything that comes out of it is just so pure. Like, at the end of the day, you go to a restaurant, you get your plate, and you can see everything like in such bright colors, and you're like, that came out of like solid ground. Like, this is gonna be good for me. Then you got the coast. I would say go to the beach where I grew up called Punta Hermosa. It's a beautiful beach, beautiful seafood. You got one of the best waves in the world. You can bodyboard in there. It's beautiful. And then the ocean is the ocean.
And fun facts. Potatoes are from Peru, by the way.
I love them.
I'm sure we all eat potatoes every day. So
I think they got over 14,000 types of potatoes, all colors, all healthy, all from Peru.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, JP, for being here. I really appreciate your insight regarding education, your business, being a foreign student in the U.S., right? So I just wish you best of luck in your journey and, you know, achieve great things.
Yes.
But thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching us. And obviously, let's keep getting different people and
to Flow 360.
Yes, in Flow 360. So
can I ask you where the name came from?
The name obviously I had a podcast before.
Oh, okay.
It was not Flow 360. It was just 360. But I never launched it.
Okay.
Okay. So nobody ever asked me what the name is and where it comes from. But Flow 360, because obviously I thought about Angle 360.
Yeah.
Right. I want to talk about almost everything.
Yeah.
That happens to people's life and their journey and their experience. So Flow 360. It's all real stories, real people.
Yeah. I might steal your idea.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, JP.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you.